Hello everybody, in this video we're going to take a look at Jamboard, which will let you create an interactive whiteboard to use while you are doing some distance teaching. First we need to open up Jamboard. There's two main ways to do it. The first way is by typing into the address bar jam.new, and that will take you into a brand new Jamboard. Another way to do it is by going into your Google Drive. And once you go into your Google Drive, you'll be able to create a new Jamboard from here. The nice thing about doing it this way is you could put your jams into a certain folder to keep things organized. So maybe if I go into my class notes folder here and I want to have my jam saved here, I can then go to the new button in the top left, go under more, and then I'll find Google Jamboard, and then create. Now that we have our Jamboard created, let's look around a little bit. Of course, it's always a good idea to give your Jamboard a name up in the top left. I'll just call this one example Jamboard. Then down the left-hand side, we have all of our different tools. So we have our drawing tool, our pen, and there's a couple of different styles that you can use in different colors. There's the eraser, there's the select button. We'll come back to the select button a few times because that will let you pick different things. If you accidentally have the pen active, you might want to go back and use the select button so you can move things around. Next we have our sticky notes. This lets you create little sticky notes that you can click and drag and move around on your Jamboard. This is really great for drag and drop activities. Below that we also have add image, so you can pull in any picture that you want, either from your computer, from your camera, meaning your webcam, you can just snap a picture, or you can even do a Google image search or pull things from your Google Drive or Google Photos. Below that we have our shapes, so we can draw whatever shapes that we like, and when you draw a shape, you'll be able to change the color of the fill up in the top, and you can change the outline color as well. Below that, we have our text box, and we can just drop it in a text box wherever we like. And we'll double click inside to start typing. And we can also move these things around as well. So you can also create movable pieces with text boxes, or you can use text boxes to create instructions or that sort of thing. Then finally, at the very bottom left, we have the laser, which lets you circle different things or create basically a little laser pointer that will disappear after about a second. Up next, let's look at setting your background. So of course, we'll go up to this little set background button here, and there's a bunch of different options that are kind of pre-built in here. Some of them will have like little lines, like paper lines, or some grids for like math, and there's a few other ones in here. You can also set your own with this last button here, which will let you put in any picture that you want, and it'll be stuck to the background of your jam. So again, you can upload your own pictures, take a picture from your webcam, upload a Google image search picture, one from your Google Drive, one from Google Photos, whatever picture that you want, you can do. So for example, maybe if I want to go into Google image search here, and maybe I just want to simply have a like a Venn diagram, just as an example. And if we look in here, see if we can find any that are just kind of blank and look nice. After a quick glance here, that red one works. We'll do this one. And we'll set that as our background. And just like that, we have this image stuck in our background. And the nice thing about this is, even if we start putting things onto our jam here, no matter how much students or yourself are moving things around, they're not going to be able to change the background. Now, if you can't find anything in that Google image search that's built in there that you really like, you can just do a regular Google image search. Just open up a new tab and search for Venn diagram or whatever you're looking for, of course. And then go into the images tab and look for one that you like. So maybe I'll do this one here. And if I find one that I like, it's a good idea to look at the resolution too. So like this one's like 1352 by 744. That's a pretty big size image, so it should fit the frame pretty well. So what I can do is right click on top of that picture that I like and go find the option called Open Image in New Tab. And generally what you're looking for is for a web address to end with either .png or .jpeg, JPEG or PNG. Then you can right click on top of the image again and do Save Image As. And we'll go ahead and download that real quick. We'll go back over to our Jamboard. We'll click on set background again. I'm going to go pick a different one this time. I'm going to do upload, and then I'm going to drag this picture that I just downloaded as the background of our jam now. And again, we can make whatever interactive elements that we like, and no matter how much we click and move things around, that is now stuck in the background. One of the other nice things about Jamboard is you can make multiple pages, or basically like multiple slides for your Jamboard. Notice up at the top here we have this little symbol here for back, show up all your different slides, and then this little next arrow. The nice thing about this is if you click on the middle button there that shows you all of your slides, if you go to the little three dots of one of your slides, you can duplicate them and it'll make an exact copy. Now the nice thing about that is you won't have to remake the slides over and over again. And if you want to do something like where you have a whole interactive activity where the whole class is coming into the Jamboard and moving things around or drawing things, what you can do is you can make a separate slide for each student, or maybe for like each group of students. So for example, if I make this first slide, I'm going to make a little text box up here, and maybe I'll call this one like Team 1. And the idea is I'll have each team of students go in and work together on one page of this Jamboard. In this case, maybe they're just moving things around the Venn diagram. All right, and then I'll go ahead and let me get rid of these other ones real quick here. I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate this one. Go into the second one and just change this to Team 2. And we'll duplicate it again. And we can make a bunch of duplicates at the same time, save ourselves a little bit of time here. And then we'll flip over to the next one using the next button. And that'll be Team 3. And another one. Team 4. And finally Team 5. There we go. So of course you can easily have students join in, and then you just direct them to whatever team or whatever slide that you want. Of course you can do teams like I did here, or you can make a separate slide for each student. So then you can just create a first slide that labels all of your teams, and you can just use sticky notes. So then this is what students would see when they would come into this Jamboard. So we see our instructions, go to the slide for your team using the top menu, and complete the activity. So if anybody from Team 1 comes in, they would jump over to this first slide for Team 1 and do whatever activity we have on the page. So on and so forth. And so if Team 4, they'd have to go find their, scroll through a little bit, go find that team slide and do that activity. Next thing we'll look at is how to share this out with our students. Alright, so probably the most efficient way to get your Jamboard over to your students is through Google Classroom. Unsurprisingly, all the Google stuff likes to talk to each other really well, and Jamboard is no different. So let's go ahead and jump into Google Classroom. We'll go into the classwork section, and then we'll go ahead and create an assignment. Even if you don't want this activity to actually be worth points, that's fine. We can change our point value down to 0 or make it ungraded rather. And we can just simply not set a due date here. That's totally fine. Then we'll go ahead and put in our title. So I'll just call this one Jamboard Activity. If I can spell activity, there we go. And we'll go into the add button below. And we're not going to do a link. We're not just going to pull the shareable link over. We're actually just going to go into the Google Drive option. The reason is all your Jamboard files are saved in your Google Drive, just like all your other Google files. So here's our example Jamboard that we just created. Of course, if you made it a little while ago, it may not be right there under recent, so you might have to search for it for a minute, but you'll find it. Then, just like all your other regular Google files that you share through Classroom when they're assignments, you get this option over here where students can view file, students can edit file, or make a copy for each student. And if you're used to doing files through Google Classroom, all the rules work exactly the same here for Jamboard. So in this case here, I want everybody to collaborate, on this Jamboard at the same time. This is something we're going to do in our live class. Everybody's going to be in this Jamboard at the same time, and I want them to be editors. So I'm going to set it to students can edit file. Then I can change up any other settings that I want, and then go ahead and click assign. From here, I'm going to go over and show you the student perspective real quick. So I'm going to go into one of the students' accounts, go into his Google Classroom, and we'll go into our class, go into classwork, and there's our Jamboard activity. And then we'll click right on that link. And just like we saw, here is the student's perspective of the Jamboard. So we see our instructions. Granted, they will be able to move and move things around. As the teacher, of course, you'll be here live with them, so you can just kind of set those rules. Don't delete anything. You only edit things on your own slide, that sort of stuff. So of course, this is Andrew's account, so he's part of Team 1, so he's going to go over to the Team 1 slide, and then from here he'll do whatever activity I have set up for him and his team on this slide. And the great thing is, as a teacher, I'll be able to see all these changes that they do in real time. So if, for example, maybe he puts in a picture here, maybe I'll do a Google image search, I'll just search for a frog. He'll drop a picture in, do whatever things that he's going to do. Back on the teacher's perspective, let me jump back into the teacher spot. We can see, we see Andrew Anderson joined. We can see he's there. Even if you click on their little profile picture, it'll jump you over to the slide that he is currently on, and you can see what he did on the slide. Now, if you're not using Google Classroom, you can also share a Jamboard with your students or other people through the regular sharing settings. So if we just go up to our share button up in the top right, we'll be able to do our sharing settings just like we do for any other Google thing. If we go down to the bottom section and click on the blue part that says change link to your organization, of course we can change it to anybody in our organization can come in here and either view or edit the Jamboard. So of course we can't lock down people to go to a certain spot on the Jamboard. They're either editors or they're not. But if you do make them editors, what I would also recommend is going up, back up to this top section of this sharing menu and going up to this little gear up in the top right and turning both of these options off. Editors can change permission and share, and viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. So having both those things off, of course, will do exactly as it sounds here. So if you are not using Google Classroom, this is kind of another way that you can share out a Jamboard with with your students without having to worry about any other logistical problems. Alright, a couple other little tricks here for you as well. If you go up to the little three dots way up in the top right next to the share button, this is where you can download all the slides, all the canvases as a PDF. So it'll save the whole Jamboard as a single PDF. So if you want to have this actually be documented classwork, you can absolutely do that. So again, just the three dots and click on download as PDF, and it'll download here for you. And just like that, we'll have a PDF that saves each of the pages in our Jamboard. And of course, whatever classwork that you do will be saved here. And then of course, you can save it for future use or for your own compiling evidence or that sort of thing. Another cool thing you can also do is go up to the little three dots and click on make a copy. You might do this if you're going to end up doing the same activity with different groups of students. So if you have the same prep but you have different groups of students, we can just go to make a copy, and then maybe I'll call this one this Jamboard, maybe I'll call this one like second period, and go ahead and say okay. And back on our original one, maybe I'll edit the name here and call this one call this one first period. There we go. And so now I have the exact same activity, one for first period, one for second period. And of course, I'll probably have to change these sticky notes to, the students' names for my second period class. But that's pretty much all you have to do there. The other thing to mention about this as well is, of course, all this stuff saves in your Google Drive. And because we started with this example Jamboard that we made here, I remember I put it in my class notes folder here. Just like all your normal stuff, it'll be saved here in your Google Drive. If you make a copy, unfortunately, it's not going to automatically go to the same folder as that original, but it will be on the first layer of your My Drive. And let's go down and find it here. So here it is. Here's my second period folder. We can just right click on top of it, move to, and we'll go ahead and move this over to the same folder as the other Jamboard that we made earlier. All right, and one of the last things I'll leave you with here before we go into looking at a bunch of different examples of templates and some good stuff for Jamboard is one little trick I'll show you real quick. If you want to make your own image and set it as the background, this is how we can do it. This is particularly useful if you're going to make like an interactive graphic organizer or something like that. So let's say, for example, we want to use like a Frayer model or like Foursquare model graphic organizer. What we can do is just draw out the actual activity to start with. So in this case here, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of squares to make the Frayer model. So that'll probably be a good size there. And I'll change up the colors to make it fun here. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this a few times. Oops. Undo. And we'll duplicate this a couple of times here. We'll make our squares. And we'll make another square. Two in the middle. And we'll change the color there. And if you're not familiar with this type of activity, basically a Frayer model, you'll have this, these four squares, and inside of each one of the outside squares will be characteristics or examples or definitions of like a term or an important person or a vocabulary word or something like that. And then it's the student's job to fill out all these little squares. So if, for example, I'm going to try to make this as even as I can there. If, for example, we want to have, we'll put a little text box over here. This will be maybe like examples. Make another one for definition. Then we'll make another one for characteristics. And maybe we'll have two characteristics, so I'll just duplicate that one. There we go. And then we'll do one more for the middle box here. We'll say type word below. Okay. And now all the things that we want to be static, basically stuck in the background, are going to be here on the slide formula, and you can kind of fiddle with it and try to make it as even as possible, just for the sake of time here. It's not going to be very pretty, but there we go. And once we're ready, what we can do is go up to the little three dots in the top right, and we're going to go to the one that says Save Frame as Image. Now this picture is saved as a static picture. Now what we'll do is we'll clear the frame, going under Set Background, select an image, then we'll just upload the picture that we just did, and now this picture is stuck in our background. And now we have our graphic organizer, and now we can give maybe students some fill-in boxes, and maybe we'll say, like erase this and type answer here. Okay, and I'll duplicate this a few times. And for these ones, maybe I'll change the alignment using this little button up there, just so it fits on the square a little bit better. And there we are. All right, so this is kind of just a super simple example of a way to create your own custom background. And in this case, we just have like a Freyer model background. Of course, this can be, you imagine if you put like a picture of a map back here, or the periodic table, or some other sort of diagram that you put in here, then you can make it be stuck into the background, and then you can have students move sticky notes around, or draw circles around things, or basically do whatever you want them to do. Alright, last thing here before we wrap up this video, I just want to mention how easy it is to find a ton of Jamboard activities and templates out there. Just a quick Google search will let you find a ton of different pre-made activities for you. Just a quick Google search led me to find about 40 or 50 different Google Jamboard activities and templates that you can just use right away for free. So I'll leave some links in the description below the video, so you can go and check out some of these templates, and feel free to explore all these things. Some of them have really great ideas, really great explanations, and like I said, just a quick Google search and you can find a ton of different templates, all free to use, all with explanations for how to use them in class, as well as some extra tips and the like. Well, that will pretty much bring us down to the end for this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.